Alright, this video is going to be on how to get your cuckoo clock back limbered up. A lot of people's got some of these old ones. Now, the date on this one is 1982. Now, how you want to know what clock you've got or you're working on, it's right here. There'll be a 25 for a 1 day. You can see right there, 25, that means it's a 1 day clock. And there'll be a dash, and then there'll be a number here. This will be your date. That'll be when this movement was made. It won't necessarily reflect on the clock itself, because a lot of times these movements was made a couple of years prior to the clock, but it'll give you an estimate of when the clock was made. Usually the clocks was made within the first 3 years after the movement was made. Usually the movement was made before the clock. Most of these will be the West German, meaning it was prior to the Berlin Wall. Down here, if you want to know the manufacturer that was putting the clock together, it's be right here. You'll be able to see the name on it, manufacturer. Now, in the time when they was making these, this one basic movement was pretty much the one use movement for all. There was multiple people that manufactured clocks and put them together, but these movements was usually contracted out, and everybody got the movement from the same place. And usually this will reflect more on the clock than the movement, because usually these movements was contracted and made by one place, and then there was multiple people that put them together and put the clocks together, and usually they put their names here. This is going to be on how to get it unstuck. If you want to get one of these unstuck and it's been setting for a while, first you want to check these pivots. You want to take and press on them just a little bit and see how much play they got in them. If these pivots has got a whole lot of play, then it's probably just need to be rebuilt. But as long as these pivots are nice and tight, then you can just clean it and get it back to working. But now if these pivots are wallered out, then there's really no point in trying to do this. You're basically going to have to either get another movement or rebuild yours, have someone to rebuild it. But now this one's good, all the pivots checks out, they're just dirty. So a lot of people wants to know, how do you get one unstuck that's been setting for a long time and the oil has been caked on and dried and hardened and it just won't move no more? What you'll do is you'll get you a paintbrush and get you some kerosene, and you go through here and you'll just soak all these pivots, because what has happened is this oil and grease over time has turned into basically like a wax, and it's just hardened up basically like candle wax. The only way to dissolve that is using kerosene. That's the safest way, using a cleaner on this brass, because this brass it's very sensitive to different types of cleaners and their corrosive makeup in the way they're made. Kerosene's oil based, so it won't affect the brass. It'll just soak into the brass and just oil it. And kerosene will naturally evaporate off and just disappear and won't leave no residue. So you can put kerosene in here, and once you get it moving, you can add just a very small bit of just motor oil on brush and just lightly brush the pivots, just enough to give them a little bit more oil. That way when the kerosene dries away, it'll still have a little bit of oil on these pivots. These pivots are a lot looser than most normal clocks, so they can tolerate a little bit thicker oil like motor oil. You can usually use a 30 weight or a European blend motor oil and put in here. But once you get all these soaked, you'll want to come up here. This is where most of them get stuck, is right here where this goes back and forth. Now, as long as this is freed up and this little wheel right here is freed up, if this wheel moves real easily and this moves real easily, most likely it's going to run. But once you get all these oiled up, then you're going to want to give it a little test. All you're going to do is just barely put a little pressure here, and you're just going to see if it's going to run. The longer you let it set, the better it's going to be. Usually I'll do it and then I'll let it set overnight, and then the next morning I'll start on it again. This one's set overnight. Now this clock was really bad, dirty and moldy, and had been in a pretty nasty place, so it was pretty stuck up. But this is what happens when you put a little, you can mix a little motor oil and kerosene, or you can just put kerosene straight. But this is the results after using that. Just let it sit overnight and it'll loosen these pivots up. And once you get it to moving again, then you can put it on the wall. Don't put a pendulum on it, just leave it without a pendulum. Put a weight on it and just let it run. Let it run for about a day. And what this will do is it'll help get that in there and just kind of move it around and get all the oil moving around in it. It'll soften up all that old grime. Then once it all softens up after about a day or so, you'll come back in and you'll just start wiping it down with a small Q-tip or a paintbrush or something, and all this will just come right off. Now this is the easiest way to do it without taking the movement completely out. Some people wants to take the movement completely out. It's not really necessarily need to, but you can. But this is the quickest, simplest way to do it. This is the old-fashioned way of doing it. And they'll just keep it ticking, and all you do is just keep adding oil and kerosene and just keep them clean and keep them wiped down, and they'll just keep running. But this is how you get one back up and running if it's been setting or been a long time. You can tell the more it runs, the faster they'll get, and then eventually they'll get to their fastest point, and then you'll be able to put your pendulum on it, and then it'll start running normal. And then if you want to adjust your time and speed and stuff, then you'll do that with your weights and the way your pendulum is, and the weight of the pendulum will regulate the speed of the movement. As you can tell, this one's starting to come unlocked. It's untelling how many years this one's not been used, and it's been stuck away. I just recently got this one rebuilt. We cleaned the chains. Now if you want to clean the chains on your clock, it's a simple method, and it's a non-toxic method. The easiest way to do this is just use simple ketchup. It'll clean that brass right up. Just rub it real good with some ketchup. Just rub it real good until it starts, when the ketchup starts turning brown, then you know you've got them clean. Then you can rinse it off, and then you want to rinse it with baking soda and warm water to neutralize any of the acids, and it'll bring your chains back out. that's how you'll get your movement back going if you want to get it back to going. That's the simplest, easiest trick that I know. This is how all the older people used to do it. But you can see just how easy it'll start back. Now this clock's actually laying down, so it's even harder for it to start because it's laying face down. Once we put it on the wall, it'll really take off. But this is how you get your clock back to going. Hopefully this can help somebody that's got one that's trying to figure out how to get it started.